because these were people who were doers. Wouldn't you say, Larry? These were doers.
Yeah, they were the ones responsible for getting the convention there in the state of Virginia up and running. And you're right. Just by the fact of showing up shows that they have a commitment to the 12 Visions Party.
Exactly right. And that's the one thing we want everybody to be aware of. Men and women are stepping up. They're seeing the opportunity. They're seeing what the prime law can do. The idea is it's not the rule of flawed Phil man, it's the rule through the universe. The 12 Visions Party has the opportunity to work with the prime law amendment, and then obviously our protection-only law. So these are the areas we're going to be working on. So I had a great time, Larry, and I'm just energized by it, and it really what a great lead-in for us to start our discussion this afternoon on this program. So without further ado, I want to, again, bring up our panel, and I want to start with one particular statement. I want to kind of just get your comments on this, and then we're going to go into a discussion. But right now, I would like to have each one of you just give me your input a little bit of this following statement. And Mark Hamilton puts this in his speech. The Neothink movement, the Neothink is self-improvement to improve ourselves. Neothink develops self-leaders. And through the growth and improvement to the world, though, will be the 12 Visions Party. So Mark addresses Neothink. And Neothink improves and develops self-leaders. The 12 Visions Party will develop to the world. Neothink will develop for the individual. So, Michael Dilworth, can I sort of just get your opinion right now, and then we'll go into more nitty-gritty of that statement.
You want my opinion on that? Well, it's absolutely right. Those of us who have experienced the Neothink mindset through reading the Neothink literature and being able to join with other Neothink Society members and conventions and clubhouse meetings, we have experienced that. And we know that it really is the next level of thinking and the next level of mindset that man can have, that mankind can have. And there's a lot to say about Neothink, but the thing is about it is the individual can experience that new mentality, that new wonderful life now. And the 12 Visions Party, of course, is really Neothink going worldwide and making the whole world better through the Neothink mentality. So that's really what my thoughts are about that.
Well, thank you, Michael, because that's a great analysis of what Mark was talking about. Jill Reed from the state of Wyoming, what are your thoughts on the statement?
Well, I would be happy to share on that, Steve. The Neothink movement, your journey starts because Mark Hamilton, the founder of Neothink Society and the 12 Visions Party coming out of the society, we start with him on a journey through his reading. We read his books. We follow his system. And the beauty to it is that this is hands-on, easy-to-follow material. This is something that it took him decades to develop. Just a system to help us find out what we would be good at. It took him over 17 years to develop. So he did it because he was an ordinary man working in a stagnant job. And he knew there had to be something better, which a lot of the listeners know that, I'm sure. But, you know, he found the way to make it better. And those of us that have read his books and become active in the Neothink Society and are working together, we have found what they call the Friday night essence, which is something that we enjoyed doing basically when we were a child. And on a Friday evening, you ran home from school to do it. And it takes some going back to figure it out. But when you do find out what it is, and there's 4 categories, I'm not going to go into that, but when you figure out what it is, and you start working within the society with others, such as Michael Dilworth, Steve, you, Sue, work with you on different things, you can't help but feel fantastic, as Michael said earlier, because you're starting to live in what we call a downstream focus. And today, in the way things are, We're not in a downstream focus. We're being led in our jobs. So the Neothink Society is self-improvement to improve ourselves, and we offer it to others as we're developing as self-leaders.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jill. Mr. Larry Wert, would you like to give us your thoughts?
Yes, Steve, and I will echo what Michael said. I'm not going to argue with Mark on the statement there. I can't say it much better. Neothink, a new way of thinking. And I think it's important to note that, Steve talked about how the 12 Visions Party will take care of the world. Well, in order for us to improve the world, we first need to improve ourselves as individuals. And going back to the prime law says that it all goes down to the fundamental individual, to protect the individual. So using the tools and technique in Neothink, we can improve ourselves. Now, earlier in the program, I read the 12 Visions. And you probably heard me state before that a lot of people say that, that's a utopia, perfect utopia will never happen. Well, there are a group of people in the States here, and in fact across the world, who have the literature, and they're actually using the literature to experience all of those 12 visions, maybe with the exception of not having nearly perfect health. That may take some technology, but they're all experiencing to some degree or another all those 12 visions through reading Mark Hamilton's literature, and that's where the self-improvement starts. Jill spoke about following Mark. Yes, we are following Mark. He's given us tools and techniques, but we as individuals need to use them and incorporate them into our lives, and that's how we become a self-leader. It's okay to listen to other people and hear what they have to say, and then judge for ourselves the best course of action. That's a true self-leader.
Good point. That is actually a very good point. Finding out who we are and then our own course of action. And it makes a lot of sense. Well, Sue Moore, would you like to give us your insights?
Sure. Well, basically, Neothink becoming a self-leader, actually helping ourselves. All my life, my mother was telling me when I was growing up, she was saying, Sue, you can do anything you put your mind to. You're unique. You have unique abilities and special talents. Well, then I get to school, and I'm grouped in as masses, and I'm taught and told to be like everybody else. And then even when I got into the job world, it was always that way. Society keeps us together, and it doesn't actually give us our individuality. And this actually brought it out. I was able to find my unique talents and abilities that I was always searching for, that were buried, just like Jill said. You find your Friday essence, you're able to find and have a fantastic life. And it was amazing because I just had a birthday, and I actually felt younger this year than I did last year. So I really do think that's working.
I happen to agree with you. It's funny, I was at the convention yesterday, and I was talking to a young man who is a few years younger than I, and I said, as we move forward and as we develop the 12 Visions Party and we move on and become the self-leaders and we bring out the entrepreneurs in the world, I said, don't worry, I'm going to be hitting your age very soon because I'm coming down to you. And that's exactly what we see is going to happen as we start to get younger and we move from there. So listen, I want to thank all of you for your opening comments. I think it's time to take a quick break, and we are going to be back in a few moments. This is Steve Fagan, and you are listening to NTR Neothink Radio. We'll be right back.
Our purpose of life is to prosper and live happily.
NTR Neothink Radio Network. Visit neothinkradio.com. And now, here's an excerpt from the May 30th show featuring the founder of the 12 Visions Party, Mr. Mark Hamilton. To listen to his message in its entirety, please visit 12visionsparty.com. That's 12visionsparty.com. And now, Mark Hamilton.
The 12 Visions Party proposes a prime law amendment to the U.S. Constitution which would plug up the leak, now a flood of rule of man drowning America in debt, regulations, and taxes. In short, the 12 Visions Party eradicates the rule of man, thus offers the people, all the people, great wealth right away. Go to 12visionsparty.com to see how we will end the rule of man